This is The Locker Room, where the coaches of Husson University talk sports.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm your host, Isaac Luken, and this is The Locker Room, the show that introduces you to the coaches and athletes of Husson University. Our guests this week are Husson field hockey coach Madeline Hoeppner and player Annika Durrell. Guys, thanks for coming on today. We're glad to have you.
Thank you.
So, could we just start? Each of you have us tell a little bit about yourself. We'll start with you, Coach.
My name is Madeline Hoeppner. I come from Sacred Heart University, 2013 grad. I coached last year at Ridgefield High School and previously element athletics and indoor action sports. So that's my field hockey background, and I'm originally from Shelburne Falls, Massachusetts.
All right, Annika?
I'm from Livermore Falls High School. It's a small town. I decided to come to Husson because it is a smaller community, so I really like that aspect of it. And my older brother went here, so.
Little family ties, I see.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Coach, this is your first year here.
Yes.
What do you like about it so far?
Well, the girls are great. I like the overall atmosphere here at Husson. It's a very small college, or university, I should say. But everybody's super friendly. The area is very nice, kind of metropolitan and woodsy at the same time. So it's overall a good fit, I think, for me.
All right, so Annika, you're a senior, and you spent 3 years with Jen Johnstone.
Yep.
What's the difference between her and Coach Hoeppner?
The most important thing I think about this year and the transition was having fun this year, and I think that Madeline really brought that. So.
All right, so before we get anything else started, just want to say congrats to you both for picking up a few NAC awards. You got Coach of the Year, and you made first team, so congrats on that.
Thank you.
Coming into this season, Husson lost to St. Joe's in the NAC semifinals 2-1. St. Joe's is no longer in that conference anymore. Has that been fueling you guys all year? You weren't there, but you've heard about it, I'm sure.
I'm going to say no. I don't think the girls really have carried that too much, just because this season has been so successful in the conference. In regards to St. Joe's, I think if we had played them again this year, there might have been some bitterness, but I don't really think that's quite fair. I know they want it, for sure.
Yeah.
But what was that like for you? I mean, being one of the favorites last year and just getting knocked out, was it kind of shocking?
It was very shocking because my whole career here, we've made it to the championship game, freshman, sophomore year. And then last year getting knocked out really just kind of put a damper on things. But we were all ready to come back and really dominate this year, and we've been very successful.
So you guys have a bunch of new faces, only 2 seniors leaving us. We'll touch upon that later in the show. Yeah. How's the team chemistry been so far?
I think very well. There has been very little drama, and when there is, they get a whip cracked. But I think everybody's there because they love to play hockey, and all bad attitudes are usually left at the door.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you feel about that, just being a player, being one of the captains?
I definitely agree. I think that we all get along really well. We're there to play field hockey. We're here to have fun, and that's how it stays.
So one of the players that you guys lost last year, Sabrina Valancourt, she's earned All-American honors. She scored 68 goals, 18 assists, 154 points. I could just rattle those stats off all day. What was it like playing with Sabrina, and why do you guys miss her?
I loved playing with Sabrina. A lot of the times, her and I got paired up a lot, so I think I gained a lot of skill from playing against her. So losing her, I was nervous because she was our leading scorer and she offered so much to our team. But I knew that this year coming that we were going to be a very young team, but it turned out to be very great. So.
All right, so you guys have a lot of young players.
Yes.
A lot of freshmen, a lot of sophomores. Who are some players that you saw them in the preseason, they just kind of blown you away here in the regular season?
I think everybody's improved since day one. I mean, even from our first game to where we are now, we're still taking steps every single day. So to say somebody who's done better, nobody that's really shocked me, but I mean, there's some days where somebody's on and other days where someone's just not having a good day. But I'm very happy with everybody.
Oh, that's good. You got to have a well-rounded team to do well. Who's a player that you've kind of, you're a senior, so in the defense, someone that you've kind of mentored, kind of gearing them up for next year?
I don't know. I think Taylor Lovely, I think that I like to give her a few pointers. She plays offense, so sometimes I like to, and a lot of offensive players, I try and say oh, do this move and then you'll beat me. So it'll work out.
So do you kind of feel like you have to do that because other people did that to you when you were young, kind of gave you pointers and showed you the ropes?
Yeah, no, I definitely think it helps. And I mean, it's different things coming from a coach and then having an actual player tell you to kind of gives them a different aspect to look at too.
So you have 2 seniors on your roster this year, one being Annika and the other being Melissa Souza. What kind of leadership do they have and what kind of skill do they bring to your team?
A whole heck of a lot. We're really going to miss Annika and Melissa next year. Annika is more the verbal leader. She says it how it is and she tells you what she wants, whereas Melissa really leads by example, and she knows that too. So the 2 captains really just mesh well together, and I think that's actually why we've been so successful, is because our leaders have been very strong.
How do you feel just playing alongside Melissa? You know, you 2 are great defensive players.
It's been great playing with Melissa. We had a huge group my freshman year of seniors, and I'm so glad that it was Melissa and I that stuck through it. Melissa's one of my great friends, and it's just been great playing with her.
So this year, you guys are 7-8 overall, 5-0 in the conference, though, not allowing a single goal. Very impressive. You've played a very tough out-of-conference schedule. How has that helped you so far in the conference?
I think that has made our defensive unit what it is today. I mean, Bowdoin, we had back-to-back defensive corners, and we did not let a single one in, particularly towards the end of the game. We shut them out 0-0 in the second half. And that, to me, just shows the type of team that we can be. So to play our conference games, I don't think that they play as tough as the schedule as we did, so I really think that helps prepare us for
NCAA.
Yeah.
That's right. But it must have been tough in the beginning, not getting those wins, because you've won so many games here at Husson. It must have been frustrating a little bit.
It was a little frustrating. We were used to winning quite a few games out of conference too, and we did at the beginning of the season, but then we kind of started getting a losing streak. But we just kept using that as motivation, and I think it's worked well.
So with the NCAA tournament upcoming, you guys are now going to start the NAC playoffs. Have you changed your practice style at all, or just kept the team loose? And
we may have cracked it down a little bit. Definitely want to make sure the girls are staying conditioned, because when it comes to the final game or the semifinal games or NCAAs, we need to be the more fit team. That's how we're going to win games. But also afterwards, taking practice a little bit easier on them and just working on their overall skill.
is that kind of what you're used to come this playoff time?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, so we're going to take a quick break. That wasn't so bad. After this short break, we will continue to talk Husson field hockey and have a preview of tomorrow's NAC semifinal game versus Castleton. Stay tuned.
Looking for these? You drive buzzed. It could be one very expensive ride.
First, you gotta make bail. Then pay me to get your car back.
Your insurance premiums will go through the roof.
And my legal fees just keep adding up. All told, it could end up costing you $10,000.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the locker room. I'm your host, Isaac Luken. We are pleased to be joined by head field hockey coach Madeline Hoeppner and player Annika Durrell. So we had that tough first segment. We're going into the second segment now. 2 of those losses that you had this season were to ranked teams Wellesley and Bowdoin.
Yes.
What are some of the strengths of playing such high-quality teams?
With Wellesley, that was really our only big loss, I would say. And it really just showed us what we need to work on if we want to really compete outside the NAC. And it was a really good wake-up for the girls, I think, as well, because we weren't really knowing what to expect. And for Bowdoin, we played our butts off, and it really showed.
Now, compare those teams to some of the teams you've played in the NCAA playoffs. Do these teams rank as some of the best that you've ever faced in your career?
Definitely. Bowdoin has always been that top team, so they've been, we've just been working really hard to come close to scoring with them, and we would have liked to get a shot on, but
maybe get your revenge in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Libby Kane is your leading goal scorer on the year with 9, including a hat trick last time out against New England College. What does it mean to have this kind of success out of a sophomore and having her on the roster for at least a few more years?
Libby is very dedicated, and she's a very skilled player. So we're lucky to have her. I think she really creates great scoring opportunities for everybody on the team. So hopefully for next year, I can't really say what our incoming class is going to be yet. But if we can move her actually up to the forward line and get her out of the midfield completely, we'll see a lot more offensive movement coming from the forward line.
And what's it like being able to play with Libby?
Libby is a great field hockey player. She offers a lot to this team, and she really gives a lot of these girls pointers. She did come from a different program too, so she was able to really build her skill and build the team as well.
Now, another player that's been solid, we're going to switch it over to the net now, Caitlin Doloff, major role, hasn't allowed a single goal in conference play. What's it like having her back there, just being able to trust her to make the big save?
She's the rock in the backfield. I think her and the other goalkeeper, Abby Greenleaf, are a great couple. So in practice, they really work well with each other and help each other out, give each other's pointers. Caitlin, being the more senior goalie, obviously has had a little bit more experience. So that's all I have to say.
Hey, that works. And for you, you play defense. You appreciate the goalies probably more than anybody. What's it like having her back there?
Caitlin is a great keeper as well as Abby. They both just really offer a lot of support. They're great communicators, and that is huge for a goalie to be able to communicate with the defense and push the messages up through the forward line. So.
But having the choice, too, between Abby Greenleaf, that you just mentioned, and Caitlin Doloff, that must be great for you as a coach.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. All right, so we talked about Libby Kane. We talked about Caitlin Doloff. Now let's switch over to Taylor Lovely. She picked up first-team honors for the conference as well. What's it like having her in the midfield being a playmaker?
Taylor is a great athlete, and she's really willing to do anything for the team. We're very fortunate to have her, and she's, I think, coming into her own, and soon I expect her to be a very big leader on the field.
And for you?
Taylor, like I said, and like Maddie said, she is a great field hockey player, and I've been fortunate enough to play with her for 2 years now, and she really does offer the team a lot. She's a great communicator to all the underclassmen as well. So.
Now, going into this game tomorrow against Castleton, how's your team doing health-wise?
I think we're all pretty good. There was a couple issues early on in the week, a couple sprained ankles, but I think with a little bit of rest and recuperation, they were ready to go.
All right, so how's your team's focus been so far leading up to this game?
I think it's been very high hopes, and we were expecting it, and so we're not going to let anything, refuse to lose kind of mentality. Yeah. But it was Halloween week, so we did have one fun practice where the girls got to dress up and kind of get the midterm stress off their back and have some fun.
I hear you there, the midterms. So what did you dress up as?
We did groups. There was 7 groups, I think, and our team, well, my group was the Rugrats. I don't know.
She was Angelica.
Okay, nice. But for you, though, you've been here a few times. This probably isn't any more pressure-packed than, say, when you were a freshman. Have you been just as serious focus-wise?
Yeah, I definitely don't take anything for granted for what comes our way. I know we've been very fortunate playing it in the NAC. We've outscored our opponents. We haven't let any shots go in our net, and that's great, but one game at a time, and that's really what I like to think.
Now, we talked about this a little bit before we went on air. You guys must have a lot of confidence, but do you want that to be received as cockiness or confidence?
Confidence.
Yeah. All right, thought so. Having home field advantage here in the NAC playoffs has to be huge for you guys, right?
Yes, definitely. We've had very little home games this season, which was unfortunate. But so to be able to host, that's awesome.
Yeah, and you guys spent 8 out of your first 9 games on the road. What was that like, just going through the gauntlet early on?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad we got it out of the way in the beginning of the season. But it was senior year, so I was kind of hoping to have a more home season game. But luckily, we were able to get that home field advantage for the playoffs, so can't argue with anything of that.
That's right. So let's talk Castleton.
Yes.
You guys play them tomorrow. Who are some of their strong players, and what's kind of their style of play? What makes them the Spartans?
This is a different Castleton team that I think everybody's used to seeing. They have one strong player, Pinkerton, is their last name, who actually received, I believe it was Rookie of the Year, or that may have been that Carly from UMF. I can't rightly remember, sorry, but she's one of their strongest players, and she is the playmaker. So if she receives the ball, something is going to happen, whether it's a shot or a corner, or she gives it up for the assist. So our game plan is just heavily mark her.
So you've probably played against her a few times. What's your strategy against her?
Just mark tight. And that goes for like anyone that we see inside the circle, that our defense and our midfield just really need to mark girls and make sure they don't receive the ball.
So besides just that one player, what else do you think could give you guys any trouble?
It's been almost a month since we played them. A lot can happen.
Yes.
And so they must be thinking about that loss
Yes,
as well.
Right.
Annika, this is your last year at Husson. You know, what's it been like playing through freshman all the way till now? I mean, you still have a chapter left to write, but what's it been like?
It's been a great experience here. I was very fortunate for everything that has happened. Playing field hockey was a great outlet for me. With stress with school, work, and everything like that, field hockey was just a way to step away from life and just focus on what I love to do. And
so before we get out of here, what are your goals? I mean, you'd like to win that championship, but
yes.
maybe moving forward like a year just to keep that success?
Yeah, I mean, if we can become reigning NAC champions, that would be great. But I think this year we could have history in the making and just go undefeated and shut out in conference, which would be amazing.
it would be.
That would be good. Thank you guys for coming on today. We're glad to have you.
Thank you for having us.
So when we come back, we'll recap the Athletes of the Week, so don't go anywhere.
Looking for these? You drive buzzed. It could be one very expensive ride.
First, you gotta make bail. Then pay me to get your car back.
Your insurance premiums will go through the roof.
And my legal fees just keep adding up. All told, it could end up costing you $10,000.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Locker Room. I'm your host, Isaac Luken. Before the break, we were pleased to be joined by head field hockey coach Madeline Hoeppner and player Annika Durrell. But we will now turn our attention to the Athletes of the Week. We are pleased to congratulate Libby Kane of the field hockey team and Phil Frost of the men's soccer team. Congrats once again for you guys, and good luck this season with playoffs. And that's all the time we have today for this episode of The Locker Room. We'd like to thank our guests once again for coming on the show today. You can follow The Locker Room on Twitter at lockerroom_TV. If you would like to watch this episode or any previous episode again, go to NESCom.tv. Be sure to join us November 14th for the next edition of The Locker Room. For everybody working hard behind the scenes, I'm Isaac Luken. Thanks for watching and have a great Halloween.